Gather round, dear adventurers, for shortly we shall delve into the depths of Azeroth's history, where legends and mysteries will soon be unveiled. By the crackling campfire's glow, we shall set off on a monumental dwarven tale called The War of the Three Hammers. Settle in, for this is a story of alliances and betrayal, of sacrifice and valor, and the destiny that binds us all. Join me as we unravel the mysteries, the heroes, and the battles that shaped the very world you now tread upon. In the age of ancient Azeroth, a great city of dwarves called Ironforge stood proud and mighty in the snow-covered land of Dun Morogh. Yet, beneath its grandeur, simmered a cauldron of strife and division that threatened to tear the kingdom asunder. Three powerful dwarf clans, the proud Bronzebeards, the stalwart Wildhammers, and the mysterious Dark Irons, vied for supremacy in the heart of Ironforge. It all began as an internal struggle, a contest to determine the ruler of the city. But as the embers of discontent smoldered, the flames of animosity erupted into a series of civil wars and conflicts that came to be known as the War of the Three Hammers. Deep-seated resentments fueled their ferocious battles, driven by cultural differences, ideological clashes, and long-held grudges. For generations, these clans had thrived, bound by loose partnerships with human realms to the north. During this time, prosperity masked a deeply divided society, where each clan sought dominance in the political arena, leveraging their unique resources and skilled specialists. As the elderly High King Modimus Anvilmar served as a fragile barrier, the tension in Ironforge reached a boiling point. When the aged king eventually passed away, the floodgates of war burst open, and the three rival clans clashed in a struggle that shook the very foundations of Ironforge. With each clan mobilizing its forces, all of Ironforge's wealth and strength were poured into the fray, backing their chosen champions. The War of the Three Hammers roared to life, its flames ignited by a failed coup attempt that only added fuel to the raging inferno. The battles that followed would determine the political landscape of Ironforge for centuries to come, setting the course for the future of the Dwarven race. Now, it is time for the story to unfold, where we shall witness the events of the war that began with the divided clans. From the depths of history, we shall journey to the heart of Dun Morogh, where a magnificent dwarven kingdom known as Ironforge thrived under the rule of High King Modimus Anvilmar. High King Modimus Anvilmar reigned over this grand dwarven kingdom. And through partnerships with the human realms to the north, Ironforge flourished, its coffers overflowing with prosperity. The echoes of fame resounded far and wide, drawing admirers from distant lands, marveling at the towering wonders like the stone-wrought dam, a testament to the dwarves' mastery of engineering. Behind the facade of opulence, the city's heart simmered with a fiery strife that threatened to tear apart the very fabric of Ironforge. The three powerful clans shared this ancient realm, their cultural and traditional diversity breeding constant rivalries for political supremacy. The mighty Bronzebeards, led by the strong-willed Thane Madoran Bronzebeard, boasted the bulk of Ironforge's formidable military and influential merchant class. Firm in their conviction of being the kingdom's backbone, they claimed distant ties of blood with High King Modimus, instilling a sense of superiority and suspicion toward their fellow dwarves, whom they deemed inferior. Beyond the city's protective walls, the Wildhammer clan found solace amidst the untamed hills and frosty peaks. Guided by the indomitable Cardros Wildhammer, they honed their skills as revered mountaineers, earning renown for their unwavering persistence and fortitude. Yet, amidst their proud endeavors, the Wildhammers encountered an arduous struggle for acceptance among the ruling elite, as the Bronzebeards frequently dismissed them as uncivilized. In the depths of the subterranean labyrinth of Ironforge, concealed from prying eyes, resided the enigmatic Dark Iron clan, ruled by the sorcerer Thane Thaurissan. Veiled in shadows, their pursuit of arcane knowledge and cunning political schemes bred discontent among the denizens of Ironforge. Clinging possessively to their abundant hoard of precious gems and minerals, they wielded their wealth as both a shield and a weapon in the tumultuous political landscape. The three clans, like tectonic plates, clashed beneath the surface of Ironforge's prosperity. Each sought to sway the ruling power in their favor, igniting a silent war that echoed through the kingdom's cavernous halls. Little did they know that these simmering tensions would soon erupt into a conflagration that would shape the destiny of Ironforge and the Dwarven race for ages to come. A growing chasm of discord divided the three powerful clans. Despite the High King's attempts to remain impartial and treat each faction fairly, his efforts to quell the rising tensions proved futile, leading the realm towards an inevitable catastrophe. As the years passed, the once unified kingdom of dwarves found itself on the brink of upheaval. A tragic turning point occurred some 230 years prior to the opening of the Dark Portal. High King Modimus Anvilmar, a revered ruler, breathed his last, leaving an empty throne awaiting the rightful heir, his eldest son. Nevertheless, before the crown could find its rightful resting place, the long-simmering tensions among the clans erupted into a tempest of conflict, plunging the once unified city into a bitter civil war. Each proud clan marshaled its might, their hearts ablaze with ambition to claim the majestic mountain and the cherished city it cradled. Chaos swept through the once mighty halls and dark caverns as the clashing of weapons and the defiant cries of warriors echoed through the very core of Ironforge. When the dust of battle settled, it was the firm Bronzebeard clan that stood tall, wielding their martial prowess and formidable numbers to claim triumph. Victorious, they sent the Wildhammers and Dark Irons reeling in defeat, compelled to retreat from the hallowed halls of Ironforge. With the Bronzebeards ascending to unchallenged dominion, the very fate of the city forever changed, setting the stage for the years to come. In the midst of the upheaval, Cardros Wildhammer and his battle-worn clan made a solemn choice: to bid farewell to Ironforge's tumultuous halls and seek refuge in lands far from the conflicts of war. Amid the marshlands and highlands of the east, they laid the foundations of a new city, Grim Batol, whose splendor would soon rival the very grandeur of Ironforge. Despite the lingering ache of past defeat, Cardros and his kin discovered contentment and prosperity within the embrace of their newfound home. The thirst to reclaim Ironforge waned, replaced by a profound sense of peace and unity, for Grim Batol had become their bastion of hope and belonging. The Dark Irons, bearing the scars of their losses in Ironforge, embarked on a solemn southward journey, seeking solace in the embrace of the searing gorge and the burning steppes. There, they forged their own realm known as the Kingdom of Thaurissan, under the unyielding rule of the vengeful sorcerer Thane Thaurissan. Consumed by the fires of humiliation and fueled by an unquenchable thirst for retribution, Thaurissan tirelessly plotted the eventual reconquest of Ironforge. His ambitions knew no bounds, as he yearned not only to seek revenge on the Bronzebeards, but also to settle the age-old score with the Wildhammers, whose fervent resistance had fiercely opposed his clan during the tumultuous war. Thus, the aftermath of the Civil War left Ironforge fractured, its clans scattered across the continent, each carving their own destiny. The stage was set for a new chapter in the saga of Azeroth's dwarves, where grudges and aspirations would shape the fate of the fractured kingdoms. Countless seasons of intricate scheming had finally come to fruition, and the sorcerer Thane stood at the precipice of unleashing his carefully crafted plan. In the quietude of the recent days since their arrival in the burning steppes and the searing gorge, a sinister force had been covertly gathering strength. Within the ranks of the Dark Iron warriors and battle mages, an awe-inspiring army took shape, fortified by the imposing presence of powerful war golems and fierce siege machines. With this formidable and diverse assembly, Thaurissan's heart swelled with certainty, for he believed he could now exact the long-awaited retribution upon his very own Dwarven brethren. With fearless cunning, the Dark Irons devised a daring strategy, a two-angled invasion that would strike both the Bronzebeard and Wildhammer domains simultaneously. The sorcerer Thane himself, fueled by hatred, would command one army marching persistent upon Ironforge. In the depths of his soul, he harbored a burning desire to personally crush the Bronzebeards and reclaim the city for his own clan. Meanwhile, the other prong of their assault would be led by none other than his talented wife, the sorceress Modgood, who would spearhead the unstoppable siege on the Wildhammers' prized capital, Grim Batol. United in their thirst for retribution, the Dark Irons prepared to unleash their devastating smite upon their ancient rivals. True to their plan, Thaurissan's forces surged like an unstoppable tide deep into the heart of the Bronzebeard domain, relentlessly advancing towards the mighty city of Ironforge. With their vast siege engines and constructs, Sorcerer Thane's army unleashed an untiring storm, shattering the defenses of the embattled Bronzebeard warriors. Within the hallowed halls of Ironforge, a fierce struggle erupted as the tough Bronzebeards mounted a valiant defense, refusing to yield to the invaders. Yet, the Dark Irons pressed on, and it was only when Thaurissan's forces had nearly breached the inner sanctum that Thane Madoran Bronzebeard rallied his warriors, mustering a ferocious counterattack. The mighty clash of dwarven strength echoed through the halls as the winds of war shifted. The Dark Iron clan was forced to fall back, their hopes of conquering Ironforge foiled, at least for the moment. The resolute Bronzebeards stood their ground, ready to defend their beloved city to the last breath. The War of the Three Hammers was far from over, and the fate of Ironforge still hung in the balance. Simultaneously, events unfurled in the Wildhammer capital as Modgood's dark army encircled the city, laying siege with relentless intent. Caught off guard by the sudden onslaught, the Wildhammers fought with unyielding determination, resolved to defend their cherished homeland against the invaders. The malevolent might of Dark Iron mages and sorcerers was unchained, wielding sinister magics that battered and fractured the Wildhammers' resolve. Under the corrupting influence of Modgood, Grim Batol was transformed into a nightmarish realm of shadows, haunting the very heart of the Dwarven stronghold and exacting a heavy toll on their strength. The Wildhammers faced their darkest hour, but in a desperate and courageous move, Kardros Wildhammer himself led a swift and merciless counterattack. With his keen blade, he managed to confront and defeat Modgood in a fateful clash. As the sorceress fell, the tide of battle turned, and the Dark Iron army was forced to retreat southward. The Wildhammer's resilience and valor had won the day, but the traces of war still reverberated throughout the land. As news of the momentous turn of events reached Madoran, the leader of the Bronzebeards swiftly coordinated with the Wildhammer clan. They had an opportunity they couldn't ignore to strike while the Dark Irons were vulnerable. With their forces united, they closed in on the Dark Irons, surrounding them in a pincer movement that left no room for escape. Caught between the onslaught of the Bronzebeards and the tenacity of the Wildhammers, the Dark Irons faced a catastrophic defeat. They fought valiantly, but the odds were insurmountable. The once mighty army of the sorcerer Thane was reduced to dust, their dreams of conquest shattered. In the fiery aftermath of the final battle, Madoran and Kardros found themselves united by a shared enemy, Thaurissan and his treacherous Dark Irons. Grievances of the past were set aside as they forged an alliance born of a common purpose to rid the world of Thaurissan's malevolence once and for all. With courage in their hearts, they marched their mighty host southward, their path of vengeance clear and tireless. The armies of the Bronzebeards and Wildhammers advanced, leaving the world to tremble under the weight of their united resolve. The stage was set for a climactic confrontation that would decide the fate of Ironforge and shape the destiny of the dwarf race. As the intimidating alliance of the Bronzebeards and Wildhammers encircled his domain, Thaurissan faced a harrowing predicament. With the spectre of defeat haunting him, he knew he had to take a drastic, even perilous course of action, a gamble fueled by the fiery powers that slumbered deep within the world. Driven by an unwavering resolve to salvage his kingdom, the sorcerer Thane delved into ancient and powerful spellwork, harnessing the primal forces of fire itself. Even so, as he delved into the depths of infernal energies, memories of his beloved wife's demise and the sting of recent defeats haunted Thaurissan's mind. The flames of rage and sorrow intertwined within him, and in his fury, his spellwork pierced the very fabric of reality, breaching the boundaries of the elemental plane. Unbeknownst to him, he tapped into the essence of a dread being, Ragnaros the Fire Lord. With an inadvertent act, Thaurissan unleashed this colossal elemental force upon the surface of Azeroth. The earth trembled beneath the weight of the Fire Lord's wrathful arrival, and mighty mountains shattered like fragile glass, their once proud peaks now reduced to rubble. The seismic shockwaves rippled across the continent, reaching even the distant shores of Kalimdor, where the land itself quivered in response, giving rise to unsettling earthquakes. Above, the once serene skies were ablaze with a fiery tempest, as raging firestorms engulfed the heavens. The area surrounding Thaurissan's stronghold transformed into a nightmarish inferno, the very air thick with the acrid scent of burning stone and searing heat. In the aftermath of this cataclysmic event, the sorcerer Thane met his final fate, his own creation turning against him. Consumed by the all-consuming flames, he was claimed by the inferno he had summoned, and his presence was no more. From a distance, Madaran and Kardros watched in horror as the world around Thaurissan's citadel was consumed by the destructive forces. In that moment, they realized the full extent of Thaurissan's folly and how he had unwittingly doomed his own people. With the threat of the Fire Lord's wrath now spreading and fearing for their own safety, the once warring clans turned back, making a hasty retreat to their lands in the north. The devastation left in the wake of the calamitous event was immeasurable, and the scars it left on the world would be etched in history forever. The once mighty Dark Iron clan, with Thaurissan at its helm, had met its tragic end. The consequences of the war that had torn apart Ironforge and its rival clans would echo through the ages, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of all who lived through those fateful days. The chapters of history were forever rewritten, and the world stood witness to the price of unchecked pride and vengeance. The echoes of the War of the Three Hammers still reverberated through the land as the dust settled on the battlefield. For the Bronzebeards, the arduous work of rebuilding Ironforge began. They labored tirelessly to mend the shattered walls and restore the grandeur of their once thriving city. But for the Wildhammers, the aftermath of the war painted a darker picture. Grim Batol, their beloved capital, stood now as a haunting reminder of their losses. The curse left behind by Modgood's demise cast a sinister veil over the once proud city. Darkness clung to its every corner, and an eerie terror gripped those who dared to venture near. The Wildhammers faced a bitter truth. Grim Batol was now uninhabitable, and their home was forever lost. The memory of their fallen comrades and the pain of the cursed city weighed heavily on their hearts. Ever resilient, they refused to surrender to despair. Committed to forge a new future, the Wildhammers set forth on a journey to find a new home, one where hope and prosperity could bloom once more. Despite the Bronzebeards' offer to welcome the Wildhammers into Ironforge, Madaran understood that Kardros and his proud clan would never accept such charity. Resolute in their desire to carve out their destiny and find a place they could truly call their own, the Wildhammers set forth on a journey northward. Some of the Wildhammers chose to settle in the land of Northrun, seeking solace in the familiar proximity of their old capital. Yet Kardros, along with the majority of his determined kin, pressed onward, their hearts set on finding a new and untamed land. Their travels led them to the enchanting realm of the Hinterlands, a wooded expanse where nature's beauty flourished. Here, Amidst the whispering leaves and towering trees, the Wildhammers glimpsed a vision of their future home. In this lush wilderness, they could feel a sense of belonging and serenity they had not experienced since their days in Ironforge. With great skill and craftsmanship, the Wildhammers set about constructing a majestic open-air city, which they named Airy Peak. Perched high in the mountains, it embraced the wild elements, becoming a symbol of their bond with nature. The dwarves, known for their affinity for the earth, found themselves drawn to the spirits of the wind and the forest. As time passed, the Wildhammers embraced a new path, actively delving into the ways of shamanism, forging a profound connection with the natural forces surrounding them. They forged unbreakable bonds with the griffins, half-lion, half-eagle creatures that soared through the skies and called the hinterlands their home. The union between the Wildhammers and the griffins became a defining aspect of their culture, strengthening their resolve and shaping their identity. Together, they soared to new heights, embracing their shared destinies, leaving behind the shadows of grim battle and welcoming a future of unity and harmony in their newfound haven. Madoran and Cardros, the valiant leaders of the triumphant Bronzebeards and Wildhammers, recognized the need for reconciliation and unity. Despite the lingering rivalries and ideological differences that had divided their clans in the past, they chose a path of mutual understanding and cooperation. The Grand Thandal Span Bridge was built to symbolize the unity and friendship forged between the Bronzebeards and Wildhammers. Stretching majestically across a treacherous chasm and soaring over a roaring river, the bridge served as a lifeline, facilitating trade, travel and communication between Ironforge and Airy Peak. Both leaders vowed that their clans would never again take up arms against each other. Together, they sought to build bridges, both literal and symbolic, between their peoples. As time flowed on, the esteemed leaders eventually passed from the mortal realm, leaving behind a legacy that would be etched into the annals of history. In honor of their fathers and the spirit they embodied, their sons commissioned skilled masons to breathe life into grand statues befitting their greatness. In the Valley of Kings, amidst the solemn winds and ancient echoes, these statues stood as timeless sentinels, guarding the memories of their beloved leaders. Their stone eyes bore witness to the passing of countless seasons, watching over the land they once sought to unite. Through the ages and shifting epochs, the legacy of Madoran and Cardros lived on through these stone giants, inspiring future generations to embrace the principles of harmony and brotherhood, transcending the boundaries of clan and race. As the Fire Lord, Ragnaros, retreated to the depths of his new lair within the molten core of Blackrock Mountain, he left behind a devastated landscape and shattered people. Deep within the darkened halls of their new fortress, known as Shadowforge City, the surviving Dark Iron Dwarves, weakened and broken, found themselves unwillingly bound to their new elemental master's merciless rule. The towering monolith of Blackrock Mountain now cast a haunting shadow over the remnants of the Dark Iron Dominion, while the once lush lands surrounding it were reduced to the charred and desolate expanse known as the Burning Steppes. Nearby, the searing gorge yawned wide, its fiery maw a testament to the elemental fury that had been unshackled. In the face of such ruin, the Dark Irons harbored a seething hatred for their distant cousins, holding them responsible for the calamity that had befallen their people. Fueled by bitterness and a yearning for retribution, the surviving Dark Irons remained a force to be reckoned with, ever plotting and scheming for the day when they might rise again and reclaim what was lost. As the echoes of the War of the Three Hammers gradually fade into the past, we find ourselves drawn back to the present, to the flickering warmth of the campfire. The embers dance in the night, casting playful shadows upon the faces of those gathered around. The tale of dwarven strife and resilience has taken us on a journey through time, deep into the heart of Azeroth's history. We have come to understand that the past is never truly buried. Its lessons and legacies live on, shaping the world we know today. So, dear adventurers, Let us cherish the stories that bind us to our shared heritage and illuminate the path ahead. As the stars twinkle overhead, we are reminded that the destiny of Azeroth is still being written, and the choices we make today can forge a brighter future for all.